You know, I'm just gonna let my chair do the talking right now. It's new, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. So, hi, chair's gonna do the video.
Hello. Well, oh my god. Hi. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to another top 5 video, where today we're going to be talking about the top 5 horror games for horror game connoisseurs. Now, last time we did a top 5 on the horror games to introduce you guys to the horror genre. Not this time. Not this time. We're going in deep, okay? We're going in blood deep. Now, I'm just gonna roly-poly myself over here and get the first game on the list now, shall we? I believe I can fly. Oh my god, that's so wonderful. This chair, by the way, it's so good. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. Hashtag I wish I were. So the first game on the list is The Evil Within. It's amazing. And The Evil Within, I didn't put that on the list for beginning horror fanatics and fans because let's just be real here. Okay, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of psychology, there's a lot of stuff that could possibly trigger people. Also, I just want to say, okay, people, please, for the love of all that is good and unholy, do not get unnecessarily triggered when it comes to horror games. Horror games are meant for fun, they're meant to display a message, they're meant to have people understand something that it couldn't otherwise be displayed in normal life, because a lot of the time when we're talking about something that is very delicate in its nature, we have to go about it in a very creative, very I don't even know how to create the right word to express, you know, in a way that's almost like an art form instead of actually just outright saying it, because that doesn't really help anything. If we do something that's in a creative way, like with The Evil Within, like, you know, with the list that I'm going to be speaking about today, it has less of a chance of affecting someone negatively. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So The Evil Within, even The Evil Within 2, which it wasn't the best, but it was a really good game still. The imagery, the artwork in The Evil Within 2. And also, I mean, a little homage to The Evil Within 2. If you guys know, you know. Not only did The Evil Within 2 display massive amounts of gore and blood and guts and spillage of just all sorts of things that went plat, plat, plat. There was a lot. There was a lot of heavy topics to talk about. There was a lot of oh my god, there was so much psychology in this game. So much psychology in this game. Highly recommend it for horror game connoisseurs, you know, who people really enjoy, like, the message behind the horror, not just the gore and the horror itself. It's completely you know, that's whenever we talk about horror, we talk about the message behind the horror. You know, it's one of those interesting factors of where we have to really see, is this horror for horror's sake, or is it horror that actually means something? And I think The Evil Within is horror that actually means something, like all the games on this list, actually. So next up on the list, I actually had to write it out because before I got kind of sidetracked and I was mentioning, like, other games that I liked on my other top 5, so I'm keeping myself focused. The next one on the list is Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is not for the weak. Okay, Silent Hill 2 has a lot of psychology. There is a lot of, I want to say, very intense imagery, as you will see in a playthrough that I did of Silent Hill 2, where I could do nothing but laugh whenever it came to the scene where Pyramid Head was a mannequin, because I didn't know what I was seeing. There's a lot. There is a lot of imagery. There is a lot of just raw emotion and connection between characters and imagery, and just the themes within this game are abundant. Oh, I need to take my inhaler. Things are getting a little bit much in here. I'm getting too excited about horror games. Don't want to spoil too much of the horror game for you, because, you know, Silent Hill 2 is one of those iconic titles that will forever remain a staple in not only my collection but so many people's collections, because it's one of those titles that lives on forever. Whether it be the message or the psychological underpinnings, I'm not quite sure, but Silent Hill 2 is just a staple, I feel. It's one of those iconic pieces that every time that I go into it, or every time that I see it or play it, I feel like, man, this is gonna go down the history books as one of the most iconic games of all time. So, highly recommend that game for all horror connoisseurs, even people who want to, you know, take a little bit of a dip down memory lane and just say, oh yeah, yep, that was a good old days of horror. So next up on the list is The Medium. Talk about new age horror that really reels you in with its story. Like, the story of this game, this is not for the faint of heart, okay? This is a story that I would recommend to players who are at least in their mid to late 20s. That's how intense it is. This is mature horror at its finest. You get into the game and suddenly you're thrust in this entire world of a woman who lost her father, a woman who regained a father, a woman who is trying to find out who she is in the midst of solving everyone else's problems at the same time. It's very iconic, and it's something that I would recommend for everyone to play. Not just because of the fact that, oh, it was compared to Silent Hill. Oh, it's a new age Silent Hill. None of that. On its own merit, the medium displays a charismatic, morbidly beautiful nature that is so chaotically mesmerizing. Like, it's so wonderful to see this type of game. And I also think there's going to be a sequel. Not gonna lie, I really honestly think there's going to be a sequel. You know, by the way that the game ended, I think there's going to be a sequel. But be that as may, I would highly recommend you guys to play the medium. Absolutely amazing game for all of my horror connoisseurs out there who love that good, mature horror that has a really impactful story. Next up on the list, you guys are going to hate me for this one, Doki Doki Literature Club. You want to know why? It's cute, but it's also so terrifying. Like, I honestly, these are things that happen in real life. And the things that happen in real life are the most terrifying to me because it has the possibility of affecting anyone. So I would say before playing this game, even please, a word of caution. There is mention of suicide. There is mention of knife play. There is mention of a lot of really, really heavy topics within this game. It is sad. It is mournful. It is a game that shows you the depths and bounds to which depression goes to. It has no limits, depression. Depression reaches all kinds of people. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're right in the middle, it reaches everybody. Doki Doki Literature Club may be cute and all kawaii and everything like that, but at its core, it's an amazing story that not only shows the depth of what mental illness actually has, but it also shows kind of like the everyday student, you know, deals with this kind of stuff. The everyday student goes through so much mental anxiety, especially in a day and age of technology and where everybody's trying to fight to be the best. You have this thing of where mentally they have to be the best in their own head. There is no ifs, ands, or buts between it. It's a really dangerous kind of mental cycle to go through. So it kind of showcases this psychology. And if you notice, a lot of the games I'm mentioning are very psychologically related. So that's why I love them, at least. I mean, you know, for me personally, psychological horror is the best horror. So we went through The Evil Within. We went through Silent Hill 2, The Medium, and Doki Doki Literature Club. What's going to be last on this list, you ask? Death Stranding. Death Stranding is one of those games where it's a long game. It's very tedious to go through at times, but please bear with me on this, okay? It is one of the best psychological horror games out there because not only was it made by the guy who was one of the people who mainly worked on the original Silent Hill, it is a new age horror like I've never seen before. Death Stranding is a game of where when I went into it, I didn't quite realize what I was getting myself into, how multifaceted the linear story of this game would be, and how in depth my mind would like go into every nook and cranny and crevice of this story. It is so good, it's so vast, it's so beautiful. Listen, photo mode is amazing in that game, first of all. This is a sneaky kind of horror, if you will. It doesn't outright do anything with the jump scares. There's no zombies waiting behind you going boogity boo. There's none of that. It's a genuine type of horror that scares you psychologically because you know something of it must be real. There's a genuineness behind... Genuineness? That's not even a word. A genuine aspect, there we go, to this game because Death Stranding isn't about anything like zombies or monsters or nurses or like evil pyramid heads. It's about the mind's own realization that it's going to die. This kind of in-between state of, well, I'm living, but I'm also gonna die. Well, I'm on this beach, but is it really death? Like that unknown questioning factor, the even philosophical, I dare to say, for this moment in time where you're on the beach, you are Sam, you're repeatedly running and running and running, and you don't know where you're running to. You know, you have that kind of moment of where like you're in a stalemate. You're between life, your death, you're in the middle, and you're like, is this purgatory? There's so many questions that this game, and so many theories that this game has too, of where you're sat there and you're like, what exactly is happening? There's so much happening. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people say it's a walking simulator. It's, you know, you're just basically a glorified delivery man, but it's not true. You know, this game is one of the best, in my opinion, if not the best game I have ever played. So that's why it's on this list. that's my top 5. We went through The Evil Within, we went through Silent Hill 2, we went through The Medium, Doki Doki Literature Club, and Death Stranding, and I feel like it's a pretty solid list to say the least, in my opinion. I know that others might have other opinions, and others might have more games that have more gore in them, less gore, more storytelling, less storytelling. It all varies, but that is my personal list, and I hope that you guys really get to try these games out if you are of the horror connoisseur type. I will put a disclaimer out there that says you really have to be in a good mindset to play a lot of these games. Like, even with, for example, The Evil Within, even though there is a lot of gore, there's a lot of things that you're shooting and all that kind of stuff, there's a story that is delivered. It doesn't deliver it in the kind way. It's very, it's very like, oh, one thing is happening, and then the next minute another thing is happening, so you kind of have to keep up with it. Also, the DLCs, I will say, The Evil Within has 3 DLCs, The Executioner, The Assignment, and The Consequence. All of them are on Xbox, because from what I saw yesterday, since Microsoft bought out Bethesda, they put all of Bethesda's games on Game Pass, so you can actually get The Evil Within on Game Pass. I'm really, really excited about that. So, if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, you guys.